A husband and wife noticed their neighbors frantically evacuating their homes. Surprised, they stepped outside and saw everyone running like lunatics, as if the world was coming to an end. Although Jason didn't know what was going on, he decided, as a precaution, to take his family and leave. But on the way, they saw those same neighbors returning. Things felt even stranger. Jason's family grew anxious until they got stuck in traffic. That's when they learned that the only exit from the city had been sealed by the military. Helicopters kept circling above, announcing repeatedly that a sudden infection had spread throughout the city and all residents were ordered to return home immediately. Jason realized they had been completely isolated. Just then, a rock fell from the sky, and when the family looked up, a cloud of dust engulfed the sky. Two fighter jets roared overhead, flying toward their town. Everyone was stunned when the jets began dropping bombs directly. Jason's wife, Beth, instantly realized if they had followed the military's instructions and returned home, the outcome would have been catastrophic. The planes then turned and headed straight toward the people on the road. It was now clear to everyone the military wanted to eliminate them all. Beth spotted a school atop a hill and immediately began climbing it with her family. The jets had already started a second round of bombing. Thankfully, they were fast enough to avoid the blast wave. Stumbling, they reached the school and banged hard on the bunker door. The noise of the jets grew louder in the distance. As soon as the door shut, a massive explosion rocked the ground above. But what kind of virus could force the military to take such drastic measures? Jason's family had no idea. For now, they made the bunker their shelter. The one good thing, there was a large stockpile of expired food, enough for 3 people to survive for a long time. Beth's face was pale. Her palm had been cut while shutting the bunker door. She didn't know whether she had been infected by the virus, but there was no time to think about that. Jason reinforced the bunker door with an iron chain and decided they would hide there for the next few days. Life underground wasn't easy, eating the same canned food every day, drinking water from a muddy underground well. They passed the time playing cards and hide and seek, cut off from the world. It felt like the end of everything. Their daughter was the first to struggle. "Dad," she asked, "how long will we stay here?" Jason had no answer. He just said, "When the virus outside goes away and life returns, we'll go back out." They didn't know the wait would last 300 days. The daughter often peeked through a reflective mirror placed at the ventilation duct, hoping to catch a glimpse of life outside. But each time, she only saw a world burnt to ash from the bombings. No sign of life anywhere. She began to feel they might be the last living people in the world. Beth consoled her, saying maybe her friends were hiding somewhere too, just like them. Then the girl opened a can, only to find it empty. There was a tiny hole in the back. Something had stolen the food. Beth checked the rest of the cans. 12 were empty. That was 2 weeks' worth of rations. Naturally, they were distressed. Beth looked toward the ventilation duct and guessed a rat had gotten in. Seeing their daughter's sad face, Jason quickly reassured her. "Don't worry about the little things. Even if the food's gone, I'll go up and bring more." That night, while the girl was playing blocks with her mom, they heard a soft sound behind them. A rat had crept in again, trying to steal food. Jason, enraged, pulled out a knife, ready to cut it to pieces. But the little creature was incredibly fast. It nearly escaped through the hole until Beth lunged and caught it. But before they could celebrate, a strong, peppery smell spread around. The rat had knocked over the oil lamp as it fled, which now caught fire. Jason ran to turn it off, but his hand got burned by the hot metal and he screamed in pain. The temperature rose quickly. The lamp's lid exploded, spilling kerosene and sparking a larger fire. Beth ripped down a curtain to try and smother the flames. Jason pulled half a bucket of water from a stone spout and threw it on the fire. Together, they managed to extinguish it. When they looked for their daughter under the bed, they found her staring at a mirror. Smoke was escaping through the ventilation duct. They feared their hideout had been exposed. Now they sat holding their breath. Jason said maybe the night's darkness would hide the smoke. They all stayed awake the entire night, afraid. Luckily, nothing unexpected happened, but Jason noticed that a thick layer of soot had built up on the reflective mirror, meaning smoke had indeed exited. But perhaps the soot on the duct would keep them from being discovered. Jason and Beth decided to go out and clean. They unchained the door, listened carefully to the outside, and when they were sure it was quiet, they opened the bunker together. Their daughter stayed inside, but after a long wait, her parents didn't return, so she climbed a stool and used the reflective periscope to check outside. She saw her parents trying to camouflage the bunker entrance. Suddenly, a black shadow darted quickly through the distant woods. She shouted for her father to look behind, but he couldn't hear. Forgetting her fear, she climbed up the stairs and exited the bunker. Once outside, she realized her parents weren't nearby. Panicked, she started calling out loudly. Suddenly, two hands appeared. It was her hidden parents. Before she could say anything, a herd of wild deer stampeded past. Thankfully, all three were unharmed, but Beth's concern grew. Why were the deer running like that? Surely they were fleeing from something dangerous. Sensing danger, the family rushed back to the bunker. Jason sealed the door with wooden planks and fastened the chain tightly. After making sure they were safe, he signaled everyone to stay silent and began listening intently. From above, they clearly heard footsteps. Someone was circling the area. As if sensing something unusual, the creature kept moving around, searching for something. Their daughter burst into tears. Beth tried to silence her, whispering that any noise would be the end. Jason rushed to distract the child. Gradually, she calmed down. Beth's eyes were fixed on the ventilation duct, her anxiety mounting. Suddenly, there was a loud thud above. Heavy footsteps echoed. Jason followed the sounds. Finally, they stopped directly above the bunker. Sweat dripped from Jason's forehead. The thing they feared had arrived. Something was trying to push the iron hatch open. Even though it was chained, the danger was palpable. Whatever was above seemed convinced someone was inside. With repeated heavy blows, the support beams holding the door began to break. The door wouldn't last much longer. Beth climbed the ladder, using her weight to try and keep the door shut. Still, the iron hatch began to open slowly. Then two glowing green eyes peered inside. Their daughter screamed in terror. At that moment, Jason grabbed a metal pipe, broke it off, and shoved it into the door frame with all his strength. Pressure from above suddenly stopped. Together, Jason and Beth managed to shut the bunker again. Even though the footsteps faded away, Jason's body trembled. He never imagined that the outside world harbored not just ruthless soldiers but monsters too. The family sat by the stairs, filled with despair. Their hideout was now exposed. New attacks could come at any moment, and they didn't have to wait long. The pantry cabinet began to shake. Heavy footsteps echoed again from above, like thousands of creatures were running overhead. Then, all of them gathered at the bunker door and launched a furious attack. This time, the force was stronger than ever. The reinforced door broke open, and countless glowing eyes stared from the dark entrance. Jason's family retreated in fear, but the monsters didn't stop. Jason threw his oil lamp and pushed the pantry cabinet against the door, but it wouldn't hold for long. Then the daughter spotted another ventilation duct on the ground. Jason broke it open, shoved Beth and their daughter through it, but as he tried to follow, he got stuck. The monsters were entering. Jason twisted and broke his own arm to free himself. Beth didn't waste a moment. She pulled Jason out with all her strength. Just as he was almost out, a giant foot stepped through the fire and grabbed him. There was no hope left. Jason told Beth to take care of their daughter, and the monster dragged him into the bunker. Beth and her daughter ran down the tunnel, tears in their eyes. The fight inside still echoed. Beth knew Jason was buying them time. In pain, she pulled her daughter along. Eventually, they reached the surface only to find a tall wall blocking the highway to the outside world. Suddenly, a helicopter flew over them, and its spotlight revealed their location. They had nowhere to run. A massive net dropped from the sky, entangling both mother and daughter. Through the net, Beth saw green-eyed black figures approaching. Then she realized they weren't monsters. They were soldiers in biohazard suits. But now she and her daughter were at their mercy. One of them pulled out a huge syringe and injected both of them in the neck. As black blood oozed, the soldier declared, "They're infected." Under orders, the soldiers aimed their weapons and prepared to execute them on the spot. When the virus first spread, many in the small town had already been exposed. It was airborne and spread rapidly. The infected didn't even know they were sick. The army's only method of control was to wipe them out completely. Beth saw that they wouldn't even spare her daughter. Rage overtook her. Dark veins surfaced on her face. But before she could act, blood gushed from a soldier's neck. It was Jason, back from the dead. His eyes glowed red. His body was now far stronger clearly. He had transformed after infection. But he couldn't withstand the bullets and collapsed, panting. Luckily, during the chaos, Beth and her daughter escaped the net and ran. The soldiers scattered, looking for them, but didn't know that Beth had also turned into a monstrous form. She took down a few soldiers, but then she too was shot, collapsing onto a car roof. In the shadows, her daughter witnessed it all. Seeing her parents like that, she too transformed in rage. She leapt and pinned down a soldier, about to kill him, but Beth stopped her just in time. Beth didn't want her daughter to become a monster. She calmed her down. Slowly, the green veins faded. The girl turned human again. But the soldier wasn't so lucky. His protective suit was breached. He became infected. Sadly, Jason's condition was critical. He looked at his daughter, gave his signature farewell smile, and closed his eyes forever. Just then, another helicopter arrived. Beth grabbed her daughter and ran. They hid among the junk and found a secret underground tunnel. A light shone on them. It was the neighbor boy. They followed him to a hidden basement door. Inside, many familiar faces were hiding. Turns out, many survivors were still there, forced to live like rats in the dark to stay alive. Jason's family had been running from monsters, but in reality, they themselves had become monsters in the eyes of others. If you listen to their conversations, you'll realize they knew all along that they were infected, and that when they got angry, they transformed. That's why they kept telling their daughter, "Don't get angry." So friends, that's where today's story ends. If you liked it, stay connected. We'll meet again next time.